everybody. I haven't done a campfire video in a while, so I think let's throw a new one out there. And you know, there's a lot of news lately about AI and art and what's the future of artists in the industry and Skynet and who knows what else. And you know, just reading about Secret Invasion is that's a show that's using AI. Marvel is using AI in one of its title sequences. And I'd love to know motion designers and graphic designers and visual effects artists out there. I'd love to know your thoughts on that. Maybe we'll put together like a little roundtable discussion on that. But in the meantime, let's have a little bit of fun with AI, as well as creating a fun little video or animation, putting you in the faculty at Hogwarts. You know, those wonderful animated paintings that sit on the walls as the students are going to class. You can talk to them, and whether they're sentient beings or not, I'll leave that to the experts of the Harry Potter universe to explain to us. But they're a lot of fun, and we can do our own in a few simple steps. We're going to use AI for just a few small pieces. We're not going to just tell AI to make the whole thing, because as of this recording, I haven't seen an AI tool that could actually create the kind of animation that we are creating. Only time will tell if it can do that sometime in the future. But in the meantime, we're going to play around a little bit with AI, just to play around with maybe changing the wardrobe, so to speak. Maybe get a picture of yourself. Now, I used Princess Leia for my faculty, you know, Hogwarts faculty picture, and but you can use your photo. And in fact, we would love to see if you all tackle this little campfire challenge, so to speak. And we've included some footage that you can throw your faculty portrait in, and we'd love to check it out. And if we get any submissions that are really fun, we'll post those as well. But in the meantime, let's take a look at some of these to see if we can put ourselves in this little video as well. Now, the first thing you always want to do is a little bit of research. And so I jumped out to the web and just, you know, quickly downloaded a couple of images just to get the look and feel of some of these Hogwarts paintings, and they're all really, really beautiful. And of course, you could see them up close and personal in the Universal queue, you know, at the Hogwarts Wizarding World Park in Orlando, right down the street from us here at Stage 3. But they just have really wonderful antique frames, and they have a nice kind of specular highlight sheen on them that kind of denotes the texture of the paint, as well as a lot of cracks and stuff in a lot of them to show the age, because they're really supposed to be possibly hundreds of years old. Love this one from Dumbledore, sleeping appropriately. Obviously, no spoilers, don't want to give it away, but he comes to, well, he dies in the movies. There, I said it. If you haven't seen Harry Potter yet, wow, you know, sorry, no spoilers from here on out, but that's one of them. But yeah, wonderful kind of feel to this, where he's just kind of chilling and sleeping, and they have just this wonderful tonality of warm hues, antique kind of feel. They're dark. They have fairly dramatic lighting, not really high-key lighting, but you know, we talk a lot about this in our lighting and rendering courses, and we're analyzing lighting and what makes things look the way they look. Rembrandt lighting and Paramount lighting and Badger lighting. We talk all about that fun stuff later if you're interested in that course. But they have a very medieval feel to them. And just scrolling through some of the things in the actual queue at Hogwarts, you could see the wonderful specular highlights coming off the lamps. And I also wanted to put this into Hogwarts with the very specific wall color and bricks that they use, because that is really recognizable, you know, to Harry Potter fans, as well as these really fun arches and lights, you know, the hanging lights in there and all kinds of fun stuff like that. Some of these shots are actually from the game Hogwarts Legacy, which is just a fantastic, amazing achievement by the group that did that. And, you know, actually the footage that I used to capture, I'll show you why I chose footage from the game and enhance that versus footage from the movie a little bit later on. But wonderful feel to the framing, very almost Baroque with the designs, Gothic and Baroque at the same time, and just a little bit almost, you know, wonderfully over the top with the ornation that's happening in a lot of these. Again, quick shot from the queue. And you can certainly get a feel of these, and it's almost like a Rembrandt lighting to a lot of these. The backgrounds are very dark, and for some of them, there's different styles too. Some of them have almost an impressionistic style, and some of them have more of a realistic style to them. Really just a wonderful feel. Again, another shot from the queue. The color values They're usually pretty warm. One here has a very green, cold green tint, and maybe, obviously, that is a faculty member from Slytherin, so they give them that green feel to it. And I love the way they break them up, not just in the shape of the rectangles and squares, but some of them have round shapes, stuff like that. So really well done. This is a shot from Game, I believe, and some of these paintings even serve as doors, as you know, a lot of you well know. And then this one is just really interesting because I just love the texture of brick wall with the cement and mortar kind of coming through. And if you're really into textures, they really define the scene, the character of a scene. We have a course on that called Texture and Look Dev, where we talk a lot about production value of your scenes and stuff like that, and how to make brick look like brick, and how to make water and plastic and metals look the way they're supposed to look. Food was a big challenge on Ratatouille to make it look good. Subsurface scattering kind of enhancements on that movie. And if you're really into the small detail to make things look ultra realistic, the Texture and Look Dev course is a great place to check that out. And then another couple shots from the queue, but you can really see the texture of the paint. Now, in the queue, they put like a fake kind of covering over the video screens to give it that kind of look. We're going to do that ourselves in comp. We're going to make it look like a painting. So you're going to actually, what we're going to do is we're going to start with a photoreal image, and we're going to create that texture of the painting through compositing, so we can really control it. Yes, I know you could probably just tell AI, hey, you know, or Photoshop, put a filter over it, make it look like a painting, or tell AI to say, hey, make this look like a painting from, you know, Impressionism or Rembrandt or whoever, Caravaggio, whoever you like. But there's not a whole lot of control over that except basically hitting the virtual refresh button on that. We're going to do that ourselves. Okay, and then of course the singing lady from Gryffindor had to throw in there as well. But just some wonderful research, and I always do research at first just to check this stuff out so I know the target, the visual target of what I'm going for. Without research, you're just kind of shooting darts in the dark, right? So now that we know what these things kind of look like, let's jump into it, have a little fun. And we're going to start in AI. Okay, so the first thing you're going to need is a picture. You could use a picture yourself. Nobody wants to see another picture of my face anywhere, so I chose to use Princess Leia. And this is from the 1977 promotional shot for Star Wars Episode 4 New Hope. I thought this would be a lot of fun because I just kind of want to mishmash some of these universes together. Star Wars one and the Harry Potter one. So this is the one I started with, and I posted it online. You could just throw it online anywhere you want. Whether it's, you know, even in a Google Drive or something. I just threw it up on my website and linked to it to go to MidJourney in order to say, hey, use this photo as a starting point, but make it look a little bit more in line with what a faculty member of the Hogwarts staff might actually wear. So I'll show you some of my results, and I'll show you the prompt that I ended up using right off the bat. If you're not familiar with MidJourney, it's pretty simple stuff. It's on a Discord channel, and you could just kind of say /imagine and then you know, post some text in there. This isn't a MidJourney tutorial, but I leave it to you to figure out how to have a little fun with that. It's spooky and scary and kind of cool at the same time. So the very first return I got, I was actually using Mark Hamill, and I didn't even upload a picture. I just said, you know, start with Mark Hamill or start with Luke Skywalker. And this one up here actually kind of looks like Mark Hamill a little bit. I love the background. I love the look of this castle up here because it's just almost like a retro Disney Ivan Earl kind of Sleeping Beauty kind of a look to this. You know, a little bit Brothers Grimm look to it. I really thought that was just an amazing background. And then, of course, the foreground looked great, too. And, you know, the Circa one was great. But none of these really worked for me as far as working as, like, I wanted somebody to look at this immediately and say, oh, that's Mark Hamill or that's Luke Skywalker in the Harry Potter world. And when you look at these, it just kind of looks like, you know, good-looking blonde kid. So that wasn't recognizable enough. And that's why I decided to use Princess Leia, especially with the iconic hair buns that she uses in Episode 4. So without even uploading the picture, I just said, hey, put Princess Leia in Hogwarts. And the returns you get on MidJourney are crazy. This one, I guess it's the literal sense of the faculty member with the hair buns. a blaster that's kind of made out of a book. I don't know what's going on here. You know, the art, it looks great, but it's not, again, what I had in mind. So that's when I decided to actually upload the photo and see if it could work directly off of that. So the very first images I got back put Princess Leia in the iconic white dress, but in a more medieval feel. And, you know, the backgrounds are beautiful. It's really tricky, even if you upload a photo of someone or yourself, when MidJourney creates the artwork behind it, you're still going to be lucky if it comes back looking like that person. As you can see, none of these really look a whole lot like Carrie Fisher, except maybe this one right up here has a resemblance of Carrie Fisher. The backgrounds, of course, absolutely gorgeous. The lighting, gorgeous, you know, and I won't get into the pros and cons of AI. That's a whole nother discussion. But the returns and the speed is just ridiculous, for better or worse for us artists out there. But again, a little too churchy, a little too religious over here. Didn't say Hogwarts to me. Even this one didn't really say Hogwarts. So I kept going. And I said, hey, make sure she's in a library, because all these faculty members seem to be surrounded by books. They're in their faculty office or whatever. So I tried to push more books in there. You know, one of the things that when we go into the next part of the AI bit, where we actually use something called deep nostalgia to move the head a little bit, is that it really doesn't work well if it's not completely front facing, because it needs that texture detail. It needs that extra detail to kind of move the head convincingly. And the hair buns really weren't working out. This one's not too bad either. But going forward on that, it was getting a little bit closer, just kind of reiterating certain styles and kind of riffing off photos that were coming back nice. I thought this one was starting to look good. It kind of resembled Carrie Fisher. It didn't look 100% like her. Wasn't happy with the background. Very religious, too religious, and a lot of the research, again, like I did, didn't really have a kind of church feel. You know, it has these flying buttresses and almost like a pew-like quality, church pews, but in line with the research, right? So I kept going. I said, how am I going to make Princess Leia look more like Princess Leia? So I said, give her some lightsabers. Boom. Now, before any Star Wars people flip out on me and say, wait, she never had a lightsaber, or she didn't use the lightsaber, or whatever. I know, we're just having fun here, okay? Maybe she got a hold of her dad's lightsaber or whoever, right? So these came back, and they were kind of fun. Again, didn't like the background. The background was too church-like or abbey-like. But this one I really liked a lot. I wasn't a fan of the hands, but I liked the fact that she looked kind of sad. And we all know that Princess Leia, again, spoiler, a lot of spoiler in this campfire, she dies. But I kind of, you know, liked the look that she was kind of despondent and kind of sad a little bit. So I was kind of going for this one. I thought it just had a somber feel to it. The other ones, this one's kind of cute, but had the lighting of the Sith instead of the blue lightsaber. So I didn't want to play around with relighting anything. And the hair buns were really getting a little bit crazy as well. So I was kind of a fan of this one. I thought, well, maybe I could use this one and just replace the hair buns with more accurate hair buns that kind of twirl, right? So going off of this one, which was kind of cool, I'm not sure what the hands are doing, but I didn't really care at this point because we're just having a little bit of fun. I said, let's use this one and let's feed this into deep nostalgia. And see if we can get a little motion on the head. So I also tried to riff a little bit off of this one in MidJourney, try and get it a little bit more like Princess Leia. She's looking kind of stern and angry and mad in a couple of these shots. This one's more sad, but they didn't really look 100% like Carrie Fisher either. They kind of looked, starting to get this almost aggressive, masculine kind of feel to it. And I really wasn't looking at for that. This one was a little bit better. So, you know, keep going. I tried to get a little bit more with Princess Leia, and I think I did get what I was looking for in something like this one. Now, again, like I was saying, I think that kind of has a resemblance to Carrie Fisher, but when you put it in MidJourney, make sure that it's front-facing as much as possible. The side views, they're not going to work out so good. So I really kind of liked this one a bit. And so this is the kind of one I went to. Again, this one was a little bit too masculine, and this one has even more front-facing. So I decided to run this one through a couple of AI image generators to kind of add a little motion to it. Let's see what we got. Two big sites that handle moving photos is MyHeritage and HitPaw, okay? And so Was I calling it deep nostalgia? It's probably called My Heritage. And I'll put the links out there. This is the version from My Heritage. And, you know, obviously it's not perfect, but these are first, second, third generational attempts at AI. And it was getting some motion in there and it was looking, you know, decent. One part I noticed that the hair was getting cut off here, and I wasn't a fan of that. But the hit paw version, I thought looked a little bit worse. Actually considerably worse. If you take a look at the funny distortion that's going on, the facial and bone structures are really moving around a lot. And I said, as a foundation, really not going to start working with this. It's just too bizarre. But the My Heritage one, I thought, yeah, this could probably work. I'll stick with this one and let me see what I can do. Because what it does is it takes your photo and then it crops when it finds the face and just gives you the face animation. So I thought, well, I'm going to have to do something about this hair bun that's actually missing over here. And as visual effects artists, we shouldn't look at something and say, oh, that's not going to work because it's missing pixels or it's broken. You work with it, okay? So I'm going to take this one specifically and we'll just kind of put a new hair bun in and track it in there and see what we get, okay? And so that's what I ended up doing using this one. And the prompt that I actually used is the image plus saying photoreal with medieval library and books in the background and colorized, holding a blue lightsaber and front facing with candlelight. So I put all that in there, but didn't like the background. It wasn't very Hogwarts. And so that's got to go as well. And we're going to do all that in our comp.